The proTEC controller is a safety control unit designed for triggering and monitoring emergency stop signals in stage technology systems and devices. On the front of the device, you will find an emergency stop switch, an additional emergency halt switch, and a 3-inch touch display. The display provides system status information, allows configuration, and serves as the main user interface. The rear side of the controller features both 3-pin and 5-pin DMX input and output connectors. 2 RJ45 network ports allow easy integration into existing networks and communication with other proTEC devices. The main power switch and power con. True 1 input and output are also located here. On the right-hand side, there is a lamp output to supply a work or desk lamp with 12 volts DC, as well as a USB charging port for powering external devices such as smartphones or tablets. For prepping, the device can be used on battery power without a cable. To do this, touch the display for several seconds to switch it on. For operation in a show environment, press the main switch located on the back of the device. Once the system has started, the home screen appears, indicating that the controller is ready for use. In the top left corner of the user interface, a battery symbol shows the current charge level of the internal battery. Next to it, a lightning symbol indicates an active external power supply, either 110 or 230 volts. To the right, the main board temperature is displayed. Further along, you will see the current fixture ID and a menu button. In the center of the display, the overview of the 8 potential safety channels, labeled A through H, is shown. This overview is presented in 2 tables. The first column identifies each proTEC safety channel from PTSC-A to PTSC-H. A closer look at how the proTEC safety channels work follows later in the video. The second column shows the status of the emergency stop, while the third column shows the status of the emergency halt. Depending on the state of the proTEC safety channel, the stop and halt buttons are displayed in green, yellow, or red. In the bottom left corner, the DMX connection status is displayed. A red cross indicates that no DMX connection is available, while a green check mark confirms a successful connection. To the right, the currently assigned IP address of the device is shown. Pressing and holding the menu button for several seconds opens a dialog with the option to reset the device to factory settings. If a password has been set for menu access and it is no longer available, the system can only be accessed again by performing a full factory reset. A short press of the menu button opens the menu. The proTEC safety architecture developed by TBF is based on a proprietary safety protocol. It provides 8 proTEC safety channels, labeled PTSC-A through PTSC-H. In the PTSC menu, these channels can be configured and assigned as needed. To organize the safety system, different device groups can be assigned to proTEC safety channels, PTSCs. For example, all devices on the ground may be assigned to PTSC-A, while all devices in the ceiling area can be assigned to PTSC-B. This makes it possible to define specific groups for different emergency stop scenarios and control them independently. One controller can operate all 8 PTSCs individually, with each PTFC dedicated to a specific group. Additional groups can be managed by additional controllers, allowing the safety system to be scaled as required. At the top center of the screen, there is a lock symbol. As long as the lock is shown closed, changes to the proTEC safety channels are blocked. This function prevents unintentional modifications. To make changes, tap the lock symbol and enter the password 7421. Once the password is confirmed, the lock opens and the desired channels can be enabled or disabled. As soon as the proTEC safety channel menu is closed, the lock automatically resets to closed. Alternatively, the lock can also be set to directly by pressing the lock symbol again within the PTSC menu. To the right of the lock, you will find the Resync button. This triggers a system-wide resynchronization of all connected controllers. It must be used when a previously unassigned proTEC safety channel is activated for the first time, when a new controller is added to the system, or when an existing controller is removed. Pressing the button prompts for the password 2983. In the event of an emergency stop, all PTSCs managed by the controller must be actively reset by the operator to prevent unintentional restart. This is done using the Reset Selected function. When this button is pressed, a password prompt appears. To confirm, enter the password 2206. The system overview displays all proTEC family devices that are currently connected to the network. In the top left corner of each entry, the assigned fixture ID is shown. Directly next to it, the clear name of the device appears for unique identification. Below the fixture ID, the proTEC safety channels A to H are indicated. The assigned channel is highlighted by a red square. To the right, the device state is displayed. At the bottom of each entry, the IP address assigned to the device is listed. The device list can be updated manually using the Rescan button. In addition, the overview refreshes automatically at regular intervals to ensure that the current status of all devices is always displayed correctly. The proTEC controller can also be operated as a node. In the first step, you define which function the controller should take in node mode. Either a DMX signal can be input and converted to Arnet for output, or, conversely, an incoming Arnet signal can be converted to DMX and sent via the DMX outputs. Next, the Arnet settings are configured. In the lower section of the menu, you can set the network, subnet, and the corresponding universe. These parameters must match the network configuration of the main control system to ensure error-free communication. Alternatively, the SACN protocol can be used. To do this, select the SACN option in the same menu section. Once selected, the user interface adapts to allow configuration for SACN Universe Selectin. In the network menu, DHCP is enabled by default. In this mode, the controller automatically receives an IP address from a DHCP server within the network. As soon as the device is connected, the address assigned by the server is automatically displayed in the corresponding field. Alternatively, you can choose between a static IP configuration or the use of an Artnet-specific address. When the static mode is activated, a predefined default IP address is shown, which can be fully customized. By selecting the input field, the IP address can be edited manually. The same applies to the subnet mask, which can also be configured manually. When the Artnet mode is activated, the controller communicates using the Artnet protocol. In this mode, the first address byte can be set to either 2 or 10 to match the existing network structure. In the top right corner of the interface, you can set the fixture ID of the controller. On the left-hand side, in the middle of the screen, the display rotation can be adjusted to match the installation position of the device. In the center, you will find the safety relay option. This setting is only relevant when using a proTEC stage box and can be enabled or disabled there. On the right side of the menu, you can configure the screensaver. A value of 0 fully disables the screensaver, while values from 1 to 245 define the time in seconds until the screensaver is deactivated. Finally, the screen brightness can also be adjusted in this section. In the upper left area of the information menu, the unique device name and the currently installed software version are displayed. This device name also appears in the device list for clear identification within the system. To the right, the controller's serial number is shown. In the counter section, both the total operating hours and the user hours are displayed. User hours can be reset and locked if needed, for example during temporary dry hire rentals. To increase system security, menu access can be protected with a PIN code. By pressing the Enable Menu Lock button, a custom 4-digit PIN can be set. Once activated, a lock symbol appears in the top left corner of the start screen, indicating that the menu is locked. When attempting to re-enter the menu, the PIN must be entered. If the menu lock is no longer required, It can be disabled via the Disable Menu Lock button in the Information menu. To confirm deactivation, the current PIN must be entered again. When Show Mode is active, highlighted in red on the display, the home screen provides a clear system overview. If Show Mode is not active, it is shown with a gray background. On the left side, all PTSC channels are displayed. If a channel is highlighted in red, it indicates that an emergency stop or an emergency halt is active. If highlighted in green, the channel is active and ready. On the right side, a simplified overview of all connected devices is shown. It indicates how many devices are in the network and how many of them are operating normally in standby mode under emergency halt, emergency stop, or fault mode. In the bottom right corner, the rescan function is available, identical to the one found in the device menu. For restoring the controller to factory settings, the factory reset function is available. To convert an incoming Arnet signal into a DMX output, an Arnet signal from a Grand MA3 console is first sent into the proTEC controller. The controller's node function must then be set to Arnet to DMX. The settings for net, subnet, and universe must be checked and matched on both the controller and the Grand MA3 console to ensure correct addressing. On the controller's start screen, you can verify whether the DMX connection is active. A corresponding status indicator confirms when DMX is available. As soon as this status is displayed, the controller outputs an analog DMX signal through its DMX ports. In the reverse application, converting a DMX input signal into an Arnet output, a DMX signal from the Grand MA3 console is connected directly to the proTEC controller. In this case, the node function must be set to DMX to Arnet. Again, the parameters for net, subnet, and universe must be verified and correctly configured in both the controller and the console. As in the previous scenario, the connection status can be monitored on the start screen. Once DMX is displayed, the controller begins converting the incoming signal into an Arnet protocol and transmitting it over the network. The emergency stop brings the device into a defined safe state in the event of a dangerous or uncontrolled situation. Once activated, the corresponding proTEC safety channel, PTSC, is highlighted with a red background. After manually resetting the emergency stop switch, all devices linked to the affected PTSC must be restarted. This is done through the PTSC menu using the Reset Selected PTSC function, confirmed with the password 2206. The emergency halt places the device in a temporary safe state without requiring a full system reset. Once released, the device immediately returns to operational status.